Welcome, kia ora koutou, to Dirt Church Radio, AidStation podcast number 25. I'm Matt Raymond.
I'm Andrew McDowell.
Buddy, how you doing? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a little while actually. I've been quite busy. There's been a lot going on. Not as much running related as I would have liked, but it's okay. I've been trying to open up a studio, or working on opening up a studio in Australia. So that has been quite distracting. Obviously, in between 100-mile races, I have another one in, when does this come out? Wednesday. And for the freeloaders, it's on Saturday. So that's the day of the race. Northburn down in near Cromwell. Yeah, just between an insane amount of work, an insane amount of school sports, which, like, cricket season's almost over. I love taking my daughter to cricket, but holy cow, that's your Saturday gone every single weekend. In summer, yeah, and just general life, there is not a spare second of the day. I've just got back from taking another daughter to ballet, so we're late starting this as well, so it is just endless, but it's never a dull moment. But yes, thank you for you and Ellie have been doing an amazing job in the last couple of weeks, rocking it. It's been awesome. Yeah, it's look. I mean, it's a team effort. It's the three-pronged trident of Neptune, or whatever you'd say. Yeah, well, I mean, Eugene should feel quite proud of the fact that it's taken two of us to replace him.
and me still doing the stellar job that I was doing in the first place.
You've had to actually step up as well. So I mean, yeah,
100% I have.
It's been quite full on, yeah.
and incredible. But look, this is a callback. Traditionally, AidStation podcast, we ask each other a question and answer it. But look, Andrew, what's your question for me this week?
It's more of a sort of a general thought. I haven't even thought how to word it into a question. So bear with me a second if I make a meal of this. A good mate of mine, Alex Garden, lent me a book recently. I say recently, it was probably a year ago. That's how slow I read. I'm halfway through it. It's a little embarrassing. It's
called War and Peace. Quite
I'd
long.
rather be running. By Richard Asquith, who we've had on the show. What was that episode?
Episode 235.
What a pro.
And he wrote Feet in the Clouds, which is, as everyone will know, the most delicious book I've ever read.
Yes. More recently, one of his books is The Race Against Time, Adventures in Late Life Running. And so that's the one that I'm reading very slowly at the moment. And I think it's tricky because I don't think of myself as an older runner, but I think a lot of people would consider me an older runner. I'll be 47 next month. And I guess I've never thought about age as such. Like when I'm just enjoying running a long way and training and everything that goes with it. I guess at some point you have to just go, yep, age group. And that's me now, like you have to actually just let go of that. And I suppose the question is, should you accept that, you're getting older, you're getting slower. Does that mean you should pull everything back? Should you train less? Should you give your body more rest? At what point do you sort of accept age as a factor in your running, keeping in mind that so many people are reinventing what can be done in their later years? And we're talking not just 50s or 60s, we're talking 70s and 80s and even 90s and even into their hundreds. We're seeing some incredible performances. And I expect that over the next few decades to get faster and faster and better because we are living longer and we are mostly, those that have stayed fit and looked after themselves are living healthier for longer. And with that might come better performances. In the middle of all of that hodgepodge, there might have been a question.
No, that's a good question. It's interesting on many levels. With Eugene going, the dynamic at Dirt Church has changed, that I was 3 years younger than he was.
Yeah, he's so old.
So he's such an old bastard. Koro Eugene.
I'm mixing a podcast to his at the moment, so I have to be really nice to him. He's my client.
Which is about an old bastard. But
it's true.
The thing that, because you talk about, I'm 47 in a little bit. I just turned 48, so I am at the point, and also coming off a DNF at Tarawera, and really, like, honestly, I have run probably 4 or 5 times in the last month, which is the longest single time that I've had off any kind of structured running for like a decade at least. I haven't been like injured or, do you know what I mean? Just actually enjoying not running.
So why is that? Are you trying to let the body recover from the effort that you put in and all the training that you put in?
I think it comes down to age.
You're just enjoying pulling back on it all?
Yeah, I am. I just enjoy it. I'm starting to get a little bit sick of it now. So I'm starting to notice like my back hurts, and I'm starting to notice like, I just don't feel like the dysmorphic thoughts and all that kind of stuff that running helps with. But it's an age thing. It's interesting, isn't it? When you look at, like, I look at photos of myself when I was like 10 years ago, and I think to myself, God, if I had had the mental acuity that I do now and the sense of self-confidence with the body and the athletic ability that I had then, I'd actually be unstoppable. Like,
that's the age-old dream, isn't it?
Because I was very, like, I look at photos of myself and go, what was I worried about? And I was really worried, right? So I think about that, and I think about how am I going to get back there. And we've had some conversations, leading up to Tarawera, where I was like, I'd message you and Ali excited and say, I ran this thing and I ran it the fastest I've run it in 4 years, which is really cool. But yeah, I think about age, and a little tip for people: don't read The Race Against Time. I know I'm holding a copy of the book up. Don't read this when you've got COVID and you feel terrible, because it is actually depressing. If you're thinking about, like, if you're feeling like you're deteriorating, it's not the best read.
I did find it quite, a little bit depressing, and think that's maybe why I'm reading it so slowly. I have read other books in the meantime. I'm not totally useless.
War and Peace.
Because, I guess at first I was like, why did Alex give this to me? What is he trying to say? Is it time to start accepting things? Because you're reading about it, and a lot of it's about masters athletes and getting quite senior. And I sort of thought, wow, that's miles away. Why do I need to worry about that now? But there's also something to be said for, well, maybe consider what do you like when you're 80? Like, what can you run like? Like, I've always said, my goal, I want to be able to run a marathon when I'm 80.
Yeah.
That to me would be awesome. And you sort of think, okay, so if you want to be able to do that, maybe think about how you're going to play the next 3 and a bit decades out so that you can run a marathon when you're 80. Some sort of long-term planning. I don't know.
I think too, I mean, for me, when I get into, and it's a funny thing because of where I work now, or where I work at the moment and have for the last 7 or 8 months, I had always been in the job that I did. I was down the end of like ED, drama llama, ambulance chasing, cop car chasing, all that sort of stuff, right? Now I'm in charge of a whole team, and involved in complex cases with older adults who come in with delirium secondary to medical causes, and thinking about the lifespan of the older adult and what can knock you and how long it takes people to recover, and looking at people's functioning and who comes in. For me, it's slightly different. I'm thinking, I want to be able to run when I'm 80, and yep, a marathon would be awesome when I'm 80, but I want to have control of my faculties when I'm 80. It's my brain health, and I'm sure that running helps that. But yeah, it's incredible. There was actually an older gentleman who collared me when I got off stage at Tarawera when we did the speed dating thing, and he was he was a super impressive specimen. I think he was in his 70s, I'm sure, and I can't remember his name because there's a lot going on. And he was jacked, shook my hand, very firm handshake, and he's like, "Why don't you have older runners on?"
Oh yeah, okay.
And I was like, "Oh, he's right. Like, this is something we should talk about." We talk about women's experiences, we talk about like young people's experiences, we talk about loads of different types of experiences, but the older adult, it's a thing, isn't it? Do you ever do them? I mean, I think our running experiences are a lot different though, because I'm a lot more kind of mid-pack, or mid, as the kids would say, than
more mid.
I'm mid than you are.
Sometimes, if I have a good day, it's less mid-pack, but some days I'm very mid-pack.
I'll tell you a story about Alex Garden, and it's a story about me again refining myself, and it was a kind of like, it was at the Taniwha Marathon, and I'd done that whole thing with James Kugler, and I'd basically written about trying to get fit in a magazine for 6 months.
Oh yeah,
I got real fit, real good, and we did this, and the goal race was the Taniwha Trail Marathon, and I went off, and it went really well, and was off the front with another dude for like 23, 24, 25K.
Look at you.
Running. It never happened. It was the first.
What a stunt.
Yeah, it was. I was in good shape, right? Like, because I trained for something and written it down, and people had bought it, and people were invested or whatever.
Sure.
And so this guy that I was running with made this insane break at about 21K, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going with you, dude. Like, because if this is either you've won because you've just like turned on the gas, or you're going to be a dead man.
How long is this race?
It's a marathon.
So
thank you. 42. So he went
halfway.
His kick was pretty it was a pretty decent kick, you know. Turns out it didn't work out well for him, but
Okay.
But it was a valiant effort, and I do appreciate that. And Alex passed, so I was sitting in second, and Alex passed me. I think, and there's another, so I dropped down to fourth, and then sort of clawed my way, like made up another place up to third. And that's where I finished. But he passed me, and I remember just being like, just be really staunch, don't give me anything, be really competitive. And I just couldn't help myself. I was like, oh, hey, man, how are you? And he goes, oh, good, I haven't done this trial. I was like, oh, let me tell you, I've done it before. It winds up here and, you know, it goes through. And then he's just like, oh, thanks, man. And they just gapped it. And I was like, fudge.
I love that. You're trying to be tough.
Yeah, I can't be. It's just not in my nature.
Good.
But I guess Alex is a prime example, right, of an athlete running into...
Oh, man, he's
late
running
middle age.
so well. And, like, his training is still really good. And I actually find it quite inspirational just seeing, I don't know actually how old Alex is, but he's older than me. And he's still doing hard interval training and all this sort of carry on. And he can run really well. We went on, going back a few years here. And I have this sort of a 9 peaks run around my house. It's about 30K, 31K. And he came along for it one time with my mate Ian, and I had my full pack with my bottles, you know, like ready to go for this big 3+ hour mission. And he had nothing, and I said, "Do you need do you want me to grab a water bottle out of the house, you know, for you?" And he's like, "No, I'll be right." He ran the whole thing over 3 hours with no food, no water, no nothing. It was fine at the end, no dramas at all. And I thought, geez, you're a fit bugger. It was impressive, you know. So yeah, there's things that maybe we need to get Alex on to tell us his secrets.
Absolutely. The other things I think about, like that are helping me as I get into middle age, are lifting weights. So, and possibly, you know, like there's a balance there with that, you know, like, and I love doing that. So lifting heavy stuff, not all the time, but doing that occasionally, lifting heavy stuff, lifting not so heavy stuff, but just kind of that kind of supplementary movement. Like you say, doing intervals, doing hill repeats, doing that sort of stuff is really, really helpful as well.
Yeah, don't just become a plotter.
No.
You know, that's a dangerous thing.
No. And I mean, and that's all relative.
Of course.
And the one thing I think that really, you know, that I look at is what running brings you in later life is connection to other people, especially as men. We connect to peers. So having a peer group in your 40s, you know, you see so many men who isolation. Well, we've seen what isolation in young men does. Isolation in middle-aged men is it's a death sentence essentially.
I mean, that's what they say. I mean, obviously getting a little bit ahead, but a lot of early onset dementia is caused by isolation, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So if we can all get together and go for a run every week,
and a chat,
surely it's got to help a little.
He is one of my best friends. He's my nursing mentor, and basically my whole career has been a pale imitation of his, and just trying to kind of live up to what an incredible human being this man is. His name's Chris, and he's how old is he now? He's 74, 75 years old. Every day, hard Sudoku, the cryptic, every day.
Excellent.
He reads the New Yorker. He works really hard in his garden. He's got 23 hectares out at Bethel's Beach. He beautiful house. His thing is house finish, man die. So he works physically. That's the thing. He's got a physical goal. He's cognitively.
So house finish, man die.
Yeah.
What is that? I've never heard.
Well, exactly what you're saying. Like, you finish your project, you don't have anything to sustain you, you don't have anything to fulfill you, you don't have anything to kind of...
You've got to have a project.
Yeah, that's why I'm sanding my windows.
Sure.
So
I don't have time for a project right now, actually, but that's okay as well, I think.
How's it go? I mean, are you looking forward to Northburn?
Northburn? Yes. I'm a little nervous because I had such a physical failure last year.
Right.
And... it's been quite interesting today because a mate of mine who lives down there, Kieran Phillip, he's been putting together sort of a spreadsheet of some of the past performances and that sort of carry on, which has been really good. I'm in the 500-mile club, of which there is only 6 members or so.
Wow.
And, of course, Glenn Sutton is in the 1,000-mile club all by himself. No great surprise there. And
where's Jean Beaumont sitting?
She must be close. She'll be close to 1,000.
Wow.
But he didn't differ. There was no 800-mile club or anything like that. But it made me sort of have a look at some of my numbers from the past few years because, when you come from, like last year was a DNF, my second DNF out of 7 races. And a massive quad failure.
At Northburn. So you've DNF from Northburn twice.
Yes, correct. Finished 5 times, DNF twice.
Yeah.
And this time was quads. They just couldn't support my body weight anymore. At the end of the second loop, I tried to go out in the third. I actually felt great, but I couldn't really stand up. I was using my poles to hold me up because they just couldn't work anymore. And you don't get them back once they've gone.
No.
Your quads, they've gone.
They're like an astronaut. They come back, but they're never the same.
Yeah, I mean, I might have had time to do 18 hours just lying down to get into recovering. Might have been time to just finish that last loop, but I didn't quite have that in me. But that's okay. What I looked back and noticed that my 2 DNFs are both my fastest loop 1 times.
Right.
So there's a little lesson for me there.
Could there be a link?
Could there be a link? I'm thinking yes. So clearly the goal will be to absolutely not race. You can't race Northburn. The moment you think I'm going to, unless you're on the halfway through the final loop, sure, give it a nudge. But the moment you start to think that you're in a race, your race is over.
Right.
you can't do it. It's that sort of a run. So I still haven't learned that lesson clearly. Yeah. Because the thing is, you have a good day and you don't dwell on what you did right. You're just happy with it.
Right.
Whereas when you have a bad day, you try to tear it apart and what
are
all these things I did wrong. So because, I love running Northburn, the end goal is, of course, to one day run Hard Rock, and it is the only qualifier. You have to finish once every 2 years. So not DNFing last year was okay, but if I DNF this year, then that's a problem. I lose. I don't know if my entries disappear or not, actually. Hopefully not. But I don't want to find out because I'm going to finish the damn thing.
And does that mean does that mean at all costs? Like if your quads blow, say, and I'm sure they won't,
yeah, hopefully
but
not.
If there's something that does happen, that you're, and obviously if there's a bone showing,
yeah. There's a line. There's definitely still a line, but that line will be a lot higher than it was last year when I knew that finishing was not necessary.
Right.
Whereas this year finishing is much more necessary, so I will put up with more. But how much more? Yeah, I won't be silly. Speaking of getting old, I'm getting too old to be too silly about these things. But if I'm coming in too far under 7 hours for that first loop, I know that I'm screwing it up. I've got to slow down.
You've got to pull back.
Got to pull back.
And do you have more time in aid, or do you go out more conservatively? Wu-Tang Clan said, protect your neck. That's it, say. Protect your lips. Look, it's race season, it's hot, and we understand the crushing pressure of the unmentionable parts of your body. Having poorly lubed feet, for instance, can really screw up a good day on the trails. But what about your lips? They're out in the sun for ages and they can get nasty, dry, cracked, and sunburned. You might think you're hardcore, but your lips are not. That's where That's It natural skin protection from New Zealand comes in. Prevent drying and cracked lips all year round and heal any damage already done with That's It Manuka Oil Infused Balm. SPF 30 plus with 100% high-grade New Zealand Manuka oil. Their go-to lip balm and a handy pocket built in to protect and repair. Soothes, protects, made with shea butter and beeswax base. None of that nasty stuff. Head to that'sit.nz to check out this amazing lip balm and their range of natural skin protection. I use this lip balm and I love it. That's it.
I don't think the time and aid is too important. It takes forever anyway. Like, even when you're sort of trying to get everything done, change your bottles and do this, get rid of the wrappers, make sure you got a food. Even just sort of methodically going through it, you're looking at 10 minutes at the main aid station. So that's quite good chill out time anyway. I always find that when I leave the tent after the first 50K, you feel pretty good. Like, you sort of come in a bit cooked because it's sort of 1 p.m.
Right.
By the time you come in at the end of the first lap, it's hot. And the forecast at the moment is really hot, like 26 degrees, full sun on the Saturday afternoon. It's going to be baking.
Yikes.
So that's something to keep in mind. You know, buy some ice beforehand, get the old ice bandana going as you go up the death climb at the start of Loop 2. That's going to be really important for everyone to look after themselves going to that second loop. When it's going to really, really get hot.
I would heartily recommend. I got gifted an ice bandana at Tarawera. In fact, Scott just pulled it out of somewhere and it was full of ice and he just clipped it around my neck and slapped me in the ass and sent me off. And there was no consent to it. It just appeared and off I shuffled. They're pretty good, eh?
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously used it for Western States. I had it around my neck for about 20 hours and it just does the job. Yeah, I mean, I'll only have one chance to use it, and that will be at the start of Loop 2, but I will make sure I use it. I don't think anyone's going to be storing ice up at TW. Terry would consider that cheating, probably. It's not hardcore enough. In fact, I'll probably get heaps of jip for just wearing it out of a Loop 2. But I don't care. I'm doing it anyway.
Look, we've come too far for gatekeeping. You know, you can wear your ice. We should all be free to just, wear our ice. Life's hard enough.
No one in the South Island is thinking I'm soft, mate, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love it down there. I don't get to go down there enough. And there are moments when you're up there on the course, you're up high, you're looking out to the west as the sun's setting and you just go, this is awesome, you know. It is such a beautiful part of the world, not just the country. So that part of it, absolutely can't wait. I just hope it's a good day, not a awful day.
It's so heartening. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about, you know, getting to know you more and talk about stuff and is, geez, it's heartening that you've DNF'd and it's heartening, you know, like.
I'm glad you take some joy out of it.
But it's an equalizer, isn't it? With the sport, we think about getting older, we think about all sorts of things right through the life, and we think about when, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, or that first time you DNF'd, you know, you DNF'd Ultra Australia.
Yeah.
And was probably pretty cut up about it.
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
2014. So what are we, 11 years ago now?
Yeah, so you're 35.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks for that.
No, this is the thing. And so I was at the same stage where I would have just not, psychologically, I would not have been able to cope with it if I'd have stopped. Now it's like hearing yourself, Carl Reed, you know, like someone's like Carl Reed saying, I stopped in the same place you did. I was like, okay, cool. You know, it was several hours sooner, but
don't get me wrong, I hate them. Last year's one was awful. I was so pissed off, but it was different because usually when you DNF, you're kind of. I think the most common mistake most common problem is like your guts is gone, and you've lost your energy, and you actually just feel like shit. That's usually what stops you in your tracks. Like most people can sort of bollocks their way through a sore knee sore, you know, your calf's playing up a little bit. You know, obviously there's a line again, but you can bollocks your way through it. But the moment you feel sick, the moment your guts is gone, it's such a game changer to your race.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's absolutely what happened in my first DNF at Northburn was I had, I think we've talked about it before, but the sphincter above your stomach wasn't closing because it was just like a muscle. It was just tight.
So all the acid was coming up through
All the acid was coming up my throat, and I didn't know what the hell to do about it. I know now that I can just take some bloody
Omeprazole.
What's the thing you chew? A Gaviscon. And it's sweet as, right? But I didn't know that back then. I didn't know what was going on. I thought my stomach was exploding.
I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying, and of course, learning the hard way. But that wrecks your race because you're just trying to move and your throat's burning, your stomach's all gone, and you just can't go. And of course, same with the North Face DNF because that was too much caffeine on an empty stomach and not knowing what to do about it, and then vomiting profusely, and then going too slow, not putting layers on, getting hypothermic, and everything is just a spiral downhill. These are all mistakes that, unfortunately for me, I just learned the hard way every single time, and I don't do any of those things anymore, but I had to learn the hard way. So they're all very frustrating, but of course last year's one was a little different because it really was a muscle failure. I actually felt, really good spirits, even at 4 a.m. or whenever it was, and trying to go out, but just unable to do so. So that was a really weird one. That one you get quite annoyed about because you did most things right. You just maybe ran down the hills a little hard and right. Just destroyed them. It was just dumb stuff.
It's funny, isn't it?
Getting old.
Getting old. But there's the thing... I was in a meeting today with a group of people, and they were saying, "How can we avoid this in future, Matt?" And they looked at me, and I said, "Well, just like your profession is you get good at doing this thing because you do this thing, and if you do this thing enough, you get really, really good at it. You're not good at the thing that happened. I'm good at the thing that happened. So for me, it's like, okay, It's so funny, isn't it? With practice comes with skill and repetition, or skill comes with practice
and mistakes.
Yeah, mistakes.
Learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do recommend that if you do have a good race, also reflect on that and think about the things you did right, which is something that few of us do. We just kind of just go, yay, on to the next one. And I do that too. But yeah, you sit there and you stew on all the ones that didn't go well, or at least I do. And I don't know if it's made me a particularly better runner. I mean, I got third in my first 100-mile race. It's not like I was awful at them. And I haven't really got any better despite learning things. I've just, still, I guess more of them have gone better than not. So maybe that's something.
All right.
Is there a lesson in there? There's probably a few.
There's a few lessons. I think for me, and again, maybe this is related to age. I was out for a run on the weekend with Rebecca, and I was thinking about tarawera, and I've thought about it a lot. I haven't got too down in the dumps about it. I have got like wistful and like, should I go? My thing is, if you told me you can have a do-over tomorrow, but you have to run it tomorrow, would you do it? I'd be like, absolutely, let's go. I'll do it tomorrow. And I will give it my, again though, guts notwithstanding or whatever. But it's actually reflecting on the fact that up until that point, just how much fun it was. Like, it was really fun. Even the mundanity of it at points, because it's a little bit like samey, putting one foot in front of the other. But that in itself...
Especially once you got into the desolate wasteland at 100 Ks.
Rera Whakaitu. That leaving Rera Whakaitu, getting out into those farm tracks. But even that, it's fun. And what a good time it was, and just like getting to hang out and getting to do it. So, yeah, all things... And again, getting smoked in the later stages of the race as I was getting sicker and slowing down, getting smoked by tons of older adults. Just like going, oh, you're so good at this. You're so clever. You're so much more cleverer than me because you're older and you're wiser and you've obviously done this before. You're dialed in.
Or they're just having a better day, I mean.
Yeah. But they didn't, none of the ones that passed me looked like they were fluking it, at least outwardly.
Well, they're not like you. They know how to put on the game face when they go past, mate.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Maybe. It's just hard on your sleeves. Right, well, look, excellent. So in closing, stay connected, lift heavy weights, do intervals, and go through our runs like Alex Garden without any food or fluid.
Yes, and but stay healthy. Don't stop for too long, it seems. Just keep moving, keep active, and talk to a lot of people. I have to say, having time off has been really nice, nicer than I thought it'd be, and I'm ready to get back into it. I can't really do it. I have like a day off and I start to walk into walls. See, I was the same.
I was exactly the same. Climb up the walls and get all antsy. And I think perhaps it's just that sort of, again, like you said, straight back into work. It's been absolutely batshit. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah.
Sounds like you need to enter another race, mate. Get you back on the horse.
Well, I mean, we're way ahead of you there, but we could talk about that offline.
Watch the space.
Watch the space. Indeed. All right, man. Well, it's nice to see you, and good luck for Northburn. I'm super excited about that. Dirt Church Radio is me, Matt Raymond, Ali Pottinger, and
Andrew McDowell.
And stay tuned for our regular DCR podcast over the upcoming weeks. We've got some banger guests lined up. Like, we're on a tear and ready to share. But this comes out Wednesday for the OGs and the AidStation crew, and for the rest of you on Saturday.
Thanks, team.